Welcome back to Toast Sports Baseball, episode 17. The MLB Draft saw surprises everywhere. The Nats go off script at number 1. The Angels pass on Kade Anderson, and Ethan Holiday lands in hitter heaven. Plus, the All-Star swing-off might be the best thing baseball's done in years. The Red Sox are rolling, and the Rays just sold for $1.7 billion. Big changes coming there. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the MLB Draft. The Nats throw a curveball at number 1. Kade Anderson was the consensus number 1 overall pick. All the experts had him at number 1. However, they threw the curveball and went Eli Willits, a high upside high school shortstop from Oklahoma. I believe he was the youngest player in the draft this year. Are the Nats going to regret this one? Is this or are they going to look back on this and go, man, thank God we took this guy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about it. He's got, he's basically, noted for medium tools everywhere, all across the board. Well-rounded, but medium. Nothing really just jumps out at you. And, that's really not what you're looking for at the number 1 overall pick. You're really looking for a guy where he's just like jumping off the page. The savant is going to be read, even if the results may not be there, but the page is going to be read. And he's just not that guy. Again, only 17 years old, so there is some time for him to develop and maybe gain some strength, and maybe that changes some things. But you're just not crazy about that at the number 1 overall pick. In their defense, there really wasn't that guy in this draft that had the the certainty of making it through a system and getting to the big league level and being successful, and having the high upside attributes to go along with it. So they were kind of put in a weird position. So I kind of feel for him. Can't say I necessarily blame him, but just not crazy about the pick in general.
Yeah, to that point, obviously, we kind of mentioned it before. Kade Anderson was supposed to be the number 1 guy, right? Like he was the Paul Skeens of this year, coming out of LSU. Just won the national championship, just like Skeens did. He won the College World Series Most Outstanding Player, just like Paul Skeens did. Now, I'm not saying he's Paul Skeens, but it's very possible that this guy goes on to have a Skeens-worthy start to his career, and all of a sudden, the Nats kind of look like they may have made a foolish move here. Joe, who should have been number 1? Should it have been Kade, or was this the right pick?
I think it depends on what the organization wants. The Nationals are probably looking 3 to 5 years out, and that puts Eli at 22 years old and possibly rising to his potential. But I think you look at someone like Kade Anderson, where all the scouts and ex-GMs are thinking and believing that he'll be able to make an MLB appearance this year, and bolstering a starting rotation. Even though it wouldn't help the Nationals this year, you would think that they could have more immediate success with him playing in the big league level than having to take the chance in developing a 17-year-old shortstop.
Yeah, the more surprising pass might have been the Angels passing on Kade, honestly. So at number 2, right, the Angels decide to go a different direction, and they passed on Kade Anderson. Who'd they take?
Tyler Brenner.
Yeah.
Tyler Brenner. First of all, that guy was not even in the top. He was not even in the top 10 kind of projected picks. He was well outside of it. It's kind of what the Angels do. Feels like a Reed Detmers situation all over again. I don't love it. It feels like the Angels are always trying to do something spontaneous and different than what they're supposed to be doing to kind of shake it up and hope it works. They just never can just go out and pick the guy that it feels like they're supposed to pick. I still feel like there's no long-term plan in Anaheim. It feels like there's no long-term plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's also worth mentioning that, both of these guys are under, below slot on money. They're probably going to sign significantly below slot. And I think there was definitely, a little bit of a bonus pool, subject matter there that they considered which is kind of right on par with both of these organizations. You know, they're kind of a little fiscal, maybe too fiscal. So that's something to look at. And then what's really weird is that, you know, every team kind of wants like a dominant lefty. It's just really nice to have. And, you know, there's a ton of rumblings about Mackenzie Gore maybe being on the move and maybe not being in the long-term outlook. He's 26 already, so, you know, you can expect that by the time the Nationals are ready to compete, he may be somewhere else. So I just thought Kade was kind of a total no-brainer for them.
Yeah.
And it would be different if Eli was this guy that's just like, hey, I know we may need the pitching, but this is the best player in the draft. And that's kind of like, you know, if I was running an organization, I would just take the best guy available. Whoever that guy is, whoever is the most talented guy is who I'm taking. And, you know, I'll make moves to fill the gaps. So it's kind of weird. Especially considering, you know, pitching is a premium, dude. You got to have arms, and a lot of them.
Well, it's funny you said that because that's exactly what the Red Sox did as Witherspoon fell all the way down to them. He has 60-plus stuff on 4 pitches, and the Red Sox get richer.
Yeah, that guy absolutely throws gas in the show 25 as well. Just letting you guys know. If you're a fan of playing video games and you play the show, go out and get Witherspoon. The dude absolutely throws cheddar. It's awesome.
Quick note.
However, yeah.
Quick note on the Seattle Mariners landing Kade Anderson. If everything comes to fruition, to me, this is the ultimate. We're going to trade one of our guys from the rotation because we just picked up a guy with more control who should be up in the big league level. And I think when it come trade deadline, you see one of their 4 guys get moved to add an offensive player.
And who might that be? Brian Wu?
I mean, I think the perfect trade candidate would be the Boston Red Sox if they get Jared Duran and a couple prospects and the Red Sox get him back Brian Wu. To me, that makes too much sense.
Joe's been fiending for Brian Wu on the Red Sox for quite a while now. Happens to play for the fantasy team as well, I believe.
He does, but I mean, I think it makes sense for both parties. So I think both teams get better with a trade like that. But I'm sure there's other guys out there that makes sense for the Seattle Mariners if they're looking for more of a power guy or someone to get on base and cause havoc. There's definitely some people out there that if you're trading one of those 4 guys in the Mariners rotation, you're going to get a lot of value back.
Maybe like a Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how much control he has left and how old he is.
I believe it's not much.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
He might be on a 1-year deal, to be honest.
And he's got to be 30-something. So I think Brian Wu's 26. So I would assume they would want someone.
Jordan Lawler and Eugenio Suarez for Brian Wu. That'd be fun.
I think they can make some things happen. That's all I'm saying. Especially if Kade is in the big leagues by September.
Cade's he's going to be on the fast track for sure. I have no doubt that he's going to be on the fast track to the majors. He definitely looks the part. Watched him in the College World Series. Definitely looks the part. There's another guy though that got drafted just behind these guys. Ethan Holiday was another guy that they were talking about at the number 1 spot. Obviously, I think down the stretch as we got closer to the MLB draft, there was a little bit more chatter about him going a little further down. I still was pretty surprised that he didn't go in the top 3 picks, but he may have landed in the best spot possible for a fast track to the MLB where they're void of talent, and he can go and make a splash right away in Colorado.
It's also where his old man got started.
I was about to
if I
say,
remember correctly.
Yep.
Old
Matt
man
Holiday.
played there. Yep.
Yeah, so now that makes 3 holidays that have traveled through the MLB. Obviously Jackson Holiday, his brother, went number 1 overall in 2022. But Ethan Holiday, dude, he's known as a pure hitter. I mean, the kid's 6'4" already. I believe he's only 18 years old. Strong bat to ball skills, and Coors is going to be a lot of fun for him to hit in. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and like some of what I've read lately is Seth Hernandez was a really, really good pick at number 6 for the Pirates. He's got a triple-digit fastball, and he's got a plus changeup. So steal, I've looked at a few steal of the draft articles, and it's looking like the Pirates may have got him one there at number 6. And his player comp is Hunter Green. So if he can be Hunter Green without the injuries, that'd be a great little deal there for the Pirates.
Imagine if the Pirates can hold on to Paul Skeens, Bubba Chandler.
That's what I'm saying, man. They're just stacking up. They're taking
Jones,
power arms early, and that rotation is just going to be so dirty soon. It already is, but are they going to hold? Are they going to?
The
pay
unfortunate,
up?
Paul, is you actually have to hit the damn ball every once in a while.
Yeah,
and that's the biggest issue. I mean, obviously, having elite starting pitching and elite pitching overall is very key to your organization's success. But dude, you got to have some resemblance of an offense, and they have an anemic offense. And it's not fun to watch. It's not fun if you're a Pittsburgh fan. It's not fun if you're a fan of baseball, because you see guys like Skeens go out there and they pitch their heart out and they have quality starts every single time they go out. And guess what? There's nothing to show for it at the end of the day. They either lose or it goes into extra innings and they pull out a 1-0 game or a 2-1 game. It's just not fun. It's just not fun baseball.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for the seams being raised, Andrew McCutchen would have 40 home runs this year. So
maybe they should just do home run derby to decide games in Pittsburgh.
Speaking of which, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that last night. I for one thought it was one of the most innovative and fun ways to decide an all-star game. Now, listen, I'm not ready to sit here and anoint this as something that needs to be brought on forever. But what I will tell you is, I don't know. I've been watching sports a long time. I've watched the NFL Pro Bowls, and I've watched the NBA All-Star Games and the NHL All-Star Games. And that was probably one of the coolest endings to an All-Star game in the history of sports that I've seen. I thought it was really fun. You got the fans going, and you also got to put guys that should be on a big stage like that in the heat of the moment with all their boys backing them. It was a fun environment. And I hope we see that happen more often in the All-Star game specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it, dude. I thought it was a blast. And, the All-Star game is one of those opportunities for the game to grow. It's not, it's not deciding who's going to make the playoffs. It's not as high leverage as it used to be. And so if you're doing this, you're setting up this big event to just make it fun. If that's your, if that's your program there, then why not, dude? It was a blast. I enjoyed it. It was interesting. It was fresh. And based on the numbers, the people loved it. And even people that weren't necessarily baseball fans could enjoy something like that. So, if you're setting this All-Star game up as a low leverage event, then why not?
Yeah, I think I saw Jared Carrabis tweet out last night almost immediately afterwards and said, how long until people start calling for this to happen after the 10th inning of extra inning games in the regular season? I have a feeling it won't be long. I have a feeling that you're going to start seeing a lot of people yearning for this type of entertainment. I know that's not going to make the purists happy. I know it's not going to make our dinosaur happy, but let's hear how you thought of it from an all-star game perspective, Joe.
I thought it was pretty piss poor. I want to see, if there's extra innings, I want to see the second baseman coming out and throwing heaters, trying to win for your league. The All-Star game the winner of that used to have home field advantage in the World Series. It used to mean something. It's probably why a lot of people denied the All-Star game, because it is becoming a joke. And I think that's all they completed that by ending the game via home run derby, soft pitch baseball. It just isn't baseball. So you're supposed to have your top baseball players playing in this game. It's supposed to be the most elite level of baseball. And then we make a mockery of it by having it end on a home run derby. When the home run derby was yesterday, was the day before the All-Star game. So you already had the home run derby. So Yeah,
Well, Brent Rooker didn't get to finish what he started,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
He didn't get
He
to
got
finish
robbed.
what he
so
started.
you had a great game. You had a game where the NL took a big lead, and then the AL came back and tied it up. And how do we resolve this? Soft pitch home run derby. I mean, great, cool.
By the way,
great job, MLB.
I got a comment on Twitter. Said baseball is. By the way, what I said back to Jared Carabas was, can't say it wouldn't be fun. LOL. Not necessarily baseball, but definitely fun. The guy tweeted me and said, baseball is not supposed to be necessarily fun or exciting. It is designed to be cerebral, the thinking person's game, and it has been near perfect since its inception. And I'm 90% sure this is Joe's burner account. And I'm almost positive of it. No, I mean, at the end of the day, it was fun, I think, for the All-Star game. I don't necessarily think that I would enjoy watching it. By the way, I don't like a lot of the stuff that's been added. I don't like the ghost runner on second base. That doesn't feel real baseball to me either. I do understand the speeding up of the game and bringing in more eyes to the game, because at the end of the day, what it needs to be is something that attracts viewership. And they've had a lot of trouble doing that. It's gotten a lot better, though, I think, as of late. I was one of the people that was like, nah, I'm definitely not into this whole pitch clock thing. I don't even know how I could watch a game now without the pitch clock and watching these guys just stand on the mound for 20 minutes before they throw a pitch. So there are some things I think that could change to speed it up and make things more interesting. This isn't one that I want to see implemented right now, but I definitely can tell you right now, Manfred's sitting in his office right now trying to figure out how he can implement this come 2027.
Yeah, no, I think I was kind of with you when the other changes came. You know, the you're not allowed to pick off more than twice, or else either the runner gets the bag or it has to be an out, and the pitch clock and all of that. And I was dead against it. I ran against it for as soon as they announced it. And dude, now I'm the same way. I love it. I think it's great for the game. The pace is just, significantly better, undeniably, because, we record how long games are, and now they're just way quicker. Same action, same amount of pitches. You still got to get 27 outs. They just do it faster. So I like that. But this is just, like Joe said, in the sense of a low leverage all-star game that means nothing, are the very best players on the field in the All-Star game? No. There's guys out there that didn't deserve to be out there that are out there. Is there anything on the line? No. So, I mean, if that's the, if that's the atmosphere of the game itself, and it's just this big, popularity contest from the voting, and, it means nothing, and we're just trying to get eyes, I thought it was, a really good way to do that. And I enjoyed it. It was fun.
It was fun. The entire game was pretty good. I know for people that, a lot of people tell me that it's the most boring All-Star game of any sport because they don't really enjoy baseball. And the All-Star game is supposed to be one of those events that just draws in people that don't normally watch the sport, right? So like basketball, the All-Star game is fun. You get the dunk contest. You get the stuff that like people that don't even care about basketball watch because it's fun. The Pro Bowl used to be that, but now it just sucks. I mean, if we're just calling it what it is, they've completely ruined the Pro Bowl in the NFL. But I think there's a pathway here for the All-Star game to actually be engaging for young fans, for fans that aren't fans of baseball, that can just be casual fans. And I thought this was a cool way of doing it. I will say the one problem was it was an East Coast game, and that swing off didn't happen until like almost 11 o'clock at night. So even still, it was a long ass game. For an All-Star game, they got to find ways to speed that up a little bit too.
Yeah, they just have to be careful though, because like you said, the NBA, like it used to be, these guys were out there just, in their legs, locking down on defense, giving max effort, and obviously that's went away in the NBA All-Star game. And now nobody watches it because it's like a mockery of basketball. I mean, the team score 180 points, and nobody cares to watch it because it's a disservice to the game itself. So, I definitely understand what Joe's saying. There has to be a little bit of integrity to the sport, and it still has to be baseball. But, I thought this was good. I thought this was a pretty good way to do it. But, anything beyond this might be, pushing the boundaries a little too far.
I'm just so happy that baseball's marketing to non-baseball people. That's exactly what the MLB should do, you know? To the people that don't watch baseball, that's who we should, you know,
you can kind of blame this though a bit on the greed of the ownerships, and you can blame this on the agents of the players, and you can blame this on the fact that these salaries have gotten completely out of control, and they've got to find ways to recoup on their investments, and they're not going to do it by, you know, Dinosaur Joe sitting in his basement watching small ball baseball and old school all-star games, and it just doesn't happen.
The Rangers gave Nathan Eovaldi a $100K bonus for his all-star performance in the first half of the year, and he didn't even make the all-star game. So I don't agree
saw
with that.
Wasn't that Christopher Sanchez, I think, got that as well?
Yeah, he did.
The
and, you know, listen, if we're talking about growing the game, the easiest way to do that is just make games more accessible. The blackouts are outrageous. You know, you could be living in the city of your team, and it's, you know, it costs you $300 a year to, you know, assure yourself access to every game. And, dude, if you want to grow the game, allow people to watch the game, you know, until you tackle that. I mean, that's obviously first priority. And then you'll have more real baseball fans who love the game. And then you don't have to do any, you know, antics at the All-Star game. You could just play baseball, you know?
So I think we've summed it up. It's basically, it was fun for the All-Star game, except for Joe. And it shouldn't be part of baseball going forward. Except for the All-Star game, unless you're Joe. So exactly. I'm good with it. I think everybody landed on this topic exactly where I thought they would, and you know, there's some other things that also make baseball fun, and one of those things is a guy named Jack Caglianone, and I'm having thoughts that this guy is going to bring good old-fashioned fun baseball back to Kansas City, and there is one caveat. The dude is just completely unlucky right now. And it's been kind of hard to watch. It's not completely on him, but his strikeout rate is low. He's already got 4 bombs, and he only has 18 hits though. And the dude is hitting the ball at a ridiculous pace. His exit velo average is almost 90 miles per hour. He barrels and hard hit percentage are like top tier. And his expected WOBA is a 330. His WOBA is a 206. It's the second largest gap league wide. So since this guy has been in the majors, he's been nothing but unlucky. So I'm expecting that he's going to have a massive second half once he starts figuring out the launch angles a little bit. Joe, cover your ears. And tries to figure out some of these metrics, because I think there is something to it. When we do talk about metrics, right? I think this is one of the times where you go, hey, maybe this guy should tinker a little bit. It's not about the swing, right? It's just about your approach and making sure that you're getting under the ball a little bit more than he is, because I think based on all the metrics that I'm seeing, it's only a matter of time till some of these start flying out of the yard. So trust the process, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't a rookie, I wouldn't have an ounce of sympathy for him, because, hey, welcome to baseball, brother. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't go. Matt Olson started off the year with, you know, some of the worst batting luck in baseball, and he, you know, just stayed the course, dude. You play 162. It's the name of the game. It's a marathon game, and you know, eventually those balls that you hit hard start getting out. They stop finding gloves, and it just sucks that it. You know, it sucks that it happened. The timing sucks, because it could have been a really hot breakout for this guy. He could have just busted onto the scene and just immediately cemented himself as a, you know, a huge name in the game moving forward. And it's just taking him some time because of some bad luck. But hey, dude, it's baseball.
Yeah, I think he was destined to be unlucky from his first at bat. I don't know if you guys watched that against the Cardinals. Victor Scott robbed him of a like clear double. And by the way, it was like one of the most impressive catches of the year so far. Obviously, there's a couple other guys that have hold that title this year, but it was a very impressive catch on the run over the shoulder. So it's like, you know, from day one, this guy's been introduced to, hey, I hope you enjoyed AAA, hit your 6 home runs in 6 games. welcome up to the MLB. Here's how you get unlucky, 130 bats in.
Yeah, I mean, his savant page doesn't really excite me. He has a whiff percentage of close to 30%. He has a chase percentage of close to 40%. He only squares up to 20%, and he hasn't had enough at-bats to qualify, but those are all very dark blues. And really, his only heavy red is bat speed. I mean, even his hard hit rate is right around average at 42.4%. His expected batting average currently is 259, which is about 50 points higher than...
But again, we're talking about a rookie. I guess that's the only thing, right? If let's say that he had these actual stats coming in, and we saw him, he had a 259 batting average, he had a 330 WOBA, he was hitting the ball at 90 miles an hour almost every time. I think we'd be sitting here saying, dude, he's playing pretty well considering.
Well, I mean, even his average exit velo would be below average in the MLB.
Yeah. It's not a high percentile,
yeah. I think he still has a lot of potential, but I think there's still a lot of work to do. I mean, his chase percentage of being 40%, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So he will not have success if that remains the same. I don't think it will, but...
surprisingly, his K
I don't care what the
higher.
WOBA or the WOOBA or the Yoda... I don't care what it says.
What does the Yoda say about hitting a 466-foot home run earlier in the year? Okay,
I guess
this guy's electric. Yeah, I mean, he's electric. You guys
don't remember Willie Mopena.
Okay,
Willie Mopena. I have never seen anyone hit a ball further than Willie Mopena. The guy lasted 3 years in the league. So it takes more than just raw power to survive in the MLB.
Hey, Jack Caglianone's coming out in the draft, and the scouting department's leaning on Adele for a player comp. And Adele dishes out Willie Mopena. Don't draft him. He's not going to make it.
Dude, he would have fallen way further than he did, for sure. I do think I'm excited to watch him.
Willie Mopena had a 250 career average.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Jack's going to be above average, if not elite at some point. The bat is there. I know it's not showing on the stats page. By the way, hilarious, right? Joe, the guy who doesn't care about the stats, pulls up the stats page as soon as we got to figure out the metrics here. But listen, the K percentage is not in a crazy spot, especially for a rookie. It's at 21%. His walk percentage needs to bump up, which it will over time. And when you have an average bat speed of 77.1 miles an hour, and you do square the ball up pretty well, he's barreling the ball. He's in the top. If he qualified, he'd be in like the top couple percentiles here.
Yeah.
For barrel percentage. So the slug is there. I mean, he's basically a modern day player. I've read
some articles about. Go ahead.
All right, we have to hear this.
Let me just give you a comparison to Roman Anthony, also a rookie. His chase percentage is 19%. That's top 90 percentile in the league. He squares the ball up over 30%, top 90 percentile in the league. His hard hit percentage is 55.7, which is top 95% in the league. His average exit velo is 93.8, higher than Jack Caglianone.
What's his bat speed?
His bat speed is 73.8, which is like 85 percentile in the red.
Yeah.
He has everything red besides his whiff percentage, which is 25.7, which is almost 20 points lower than Caglianone and puts him right below average.
Roman Anthony also spent a lot more time in the minors than Jack did, I believe. We could pull that.
I mean, Jack played college baseball and Roman didn't.
That's also true, but I also think that partially hinders him, doesn't help him, in my opinion. Obviously, there was another piece of that. He was also pitching and hitting in college baseball. He was not just focused on being a pure hitter. I do think he could have benefited from a little bit more time in the minors. The problem is when you go down and you're hitting like he was hitting, there's nothing else to prove at that level. Now it's all about trying to hit at this level. So you kind of have to be patient with him and allow him to kind of take his lumps. I think a lot of those metrics, we'll look back at these StatCast pages, and a lot of those metrics are going to be a lot better looking than they are currently. just based on the bat that we know he is.
Yeah, I'm a big at these advanced metrics. I'm a big looker at the chase percentage because that's really tells you the story of how the hitter understands the zone and what pitches he's looking for in the zone, and when that pitch is in the zone, he hits it. And so if you have a chase percentage that's very low or very high but very low on average in MLB standards, it usually does not result in success.
Well, let me give you an Ellie De La Cruz stat here. The whiff percentage of 30%, a chase percentage of almost 30%, and a strikeout rate at almost 25%. So,
and what's Ellie De La Cruz's batting average?
His batting average? His batting average is sitting at a 284. But again, he's overproducing. His expected is at 270.
He also steals 60 bags a year.
Look,
70 probably.
If you guys pull up a list, and I'm about to try to pull up a list here of bat speed. Who are the best hitters in baseball, and how does that relate to their bat speed? And if you look around the league, the guys with the highest bat speed, generally speaking, there are anomalies that kind of break the mold because they just have phenomenal approach. I'm not saying that, if you have a really high bat speed that it's just guaranteed, or that if you don't have an elite bat speed, you can't be an elite hitter. But if you look at the correlation between guys that are stars in this league and guys that are just journeymen that are just bouncing around and they don't ever get that huge contract, bat speed is just a massive indicator of that. And I'm trying to find, let's see here, trying to find some. I've read a few articles about this, and I read it in the preseason, and I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and take a guess and say that that's still the standard because this was based on all of last year's numbers.
The new standard, the higher bat speed, the more power.
And it makes sense. You can allow the ball to more power, of course, but when when you have Ronald Acuna hands, when you have Junior Cabanero hands, and these guys are throwing as hard as they are, and you're allowed that extra millisecond, and you're allowing the ball to travel and get deeper before you have to react and make a decision and initiate, that's super significant. And then when you do initiate and you actually hit the baseball, it sounds different because you're swinging the piss out of the bat. So bat speed's huge, and this guy has elite bat speed. And so,
Ronald Acuna also has a 23.2 chase percentage. So he sees it super well. Doesn't chase, understands the zone, on top of having great bat speed, which is why it makes him a superstar. Because when he does make contact,
I wouldn't make excuses for Jack. I do think that, one, he's hitting in a bad offense. I think that also plays into it, right? He feels probably like there's a little bit more pressure on him to produce in that offense. It's a little easier when you get in like a Roman Anthony, right? He gets into the Boston lineup, right? And all of a sudden they're all hitting well though. It's not like Roman Anthony's like the outlier and everybody else on the team is hitting.
He's hitting 2 and 3 hole.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, we've got Cedane Rafaela going crazy. You got Trevor Story going crazy. You got Marcelo Maris hitting well. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, as everybody else is doing what they're supposed to be doing, it makes your job a little bit easier, wear the pitcher out a little bit. But when you got the offense like Kansas City's running out there, it's been horrible this year. It makes it a little bit more difficult to get into a groove. And then you start pressing a little bit, and then you're starting to swing at pitches that you wouldn't normally swing at. I do think that all that stuff tends to, regress to the mean, and we'll see all those metrics and statistics even out. I mean, let's be honest. The guy's not going to be a 140 hitter for his career. He's just not.
I mean, here we go. Average bat speed leader, O'Neal Cruz.
Very low average.
Yeah,
very high chase percentage.
Junior Cabanero, future superstar. Aaron Judge in 4th place, superstar. Kyle Schwarber, superstar. Vladimir Guerrero, superstar. Pete Alonso, Shohei Ohtani, James Wood, Austin Riley. I mean, when you go down the list of the highest bat speed leaders, you see the best players. So
there's a correlation, yeah.
There's a significant correlation, and Jack Caglianone has elite bat speed. He's strong like bull. He's built like an absolute tank. So, yeah, dude, I mean, he's going to figure it out. He's a puppy. And, as AJ's pointed out, he's got a significant difference between his expected stats and his current stats, and that matters, dude. That matters. Dinosaur has to back off, dude. Dinosaur has to. Dinosaurs are extinct for a reason.
I agree. Jack Caglianone has right now one of the tiers to be an elite hitter for baseball. All those other guys, if you look at it, they have more than just bat speed.
Yeah.
So
again, I fully intend to look back on this and say we were probably right about Jack Caglianone. He's probably going to end up being not only just fine, but very, very good. However, to the dinosaur's point, there is a chance.
A lot of work to be done.
There's a chance that it could go awry, but we'll see.
That's what happened to Cedon Raphael. Chase percentage way too high. Now he's chasing less.
Well, and it also helps when you got good coaching and you've got good development. I don't know that Kansas City has that. So we'll see. Speaking of the Red Sox and Cedon Rafaela and Roman Anthony and all these other guys that are hitting the piss out of the ball, it really helps when you win games and you hit the piss out of the ball. They're up to now 10 straight. They ended up winning a 4-1 win over Tampa, which was the last win right before the All-Star break. I believe that was a sweep. Which I don't know if we called that. I think Joe may have called that this last week. We gotta go back and check later in this episode. However, at the end of the day, what it really is all of a sudden Rafael Devers is out the door, and now they've ushered in this new team, and Breslow was right. I mean, that's what we gotta say, right?
Breslow is definitely looking like a genius at the moment. But the Devers move has definitely added more roster flexibility for them. But really, this win streak, I mean, the first 6 games were against the 2 worst teams in baseball from the National League. But, they still win games, and the Red Sox were able to win all 6, which is not easy to do, no matter who you're playing. But really, it's the tale of the pitching staff. The starting pitching had a 1.5 ERA on this current win streak. The bullpen was similar. A lot of people are coming into their own. Garrett Crochet threw his first complete game of his career during this win streak. And it's just a very exciting time to be the Red Sox, if you're a Red Sox fan. They are 3 games out of first place. They're 1 game out from overtaking the Yanks. This 4-game sweep of the Rays had them leapfrog them in the standings. And they have a really good opportunity to add and subtract from the roster to form a more complete roster come October. And probably another series win against the Cubs this weekend. So
yeah, it's not happening. But what I will say is one thing that is not in the favor of the Red Sox right now. It does not get easier. So you come off this All-Star break, which, by the way, it's never a good thing to have a 10-game win streak and then go into a 4-day off exhibition game and all this other stuff with your stars going left and right, playing in these games like this, because what it does is it hinders your momentum. And the problem is now they have to travel. They got to go up to Chicago. They got to play 3 games against the best offense in baseball. And their pitching staff, while they have been good, you already noted, they played the Nationals and the Rockies in 6 of those 10 games. And the other one, they played an AL East team, which, we'll see. But what I will say is right after the Cubs, you got to go play at the Phillies, and then you come back home and you play the Dodgers. It does not get easier over the next, call it 10 games now that they got here. So I think we'll learn a lot about the Red Sox on how they respond to the time that they just had off. They had this nice winning streak. Are they now in a position where they're going to make a move and actually climb those standings and get into contention? Or is it going to be the complete opposite? And they played all these bad teams. They beat an AL East foe, and they turn around and now they drop 2 of 3 to the Cubs and 2 of 3 to the Phillies, and maybe they take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers, hopefully. But if they lose all 3 of those series, now you're right back in the gutter where you started.
Yeah, I mean, to me, they just need to go 500 against the next 3 series, and they're fine. But yeah, I mean, Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony are out on double dates. Confidence is at an all-time high. Anything can happen right now.
Yeah. A lot of talent still on the team. I mean, that's the thing. They're not void of talent. We know that. I do think that the Trevor Story stuff is interesting. I'm also very interested to see how the trade deadline shakes out and how that impacts the Red Sox overall team and the chemistry, because trade deadline is so weird, man. It propels teams, it buries teams. Things get shaken up weird. But if you get rid of a guy like Trevor Story and Jared Duran, right, who he's kind of like a lifeline of the Red Sox. He embodies Boston, and they love him there. You get rid of a guy like that from the clubhouse, it just, I don't know, things start to get a little weird around, especially the young guys, and they have never been through a trade deadline like this before.
What's and then they're doing this without Bregman too, worth noting.
Yeah.
Supposed to come back, which is going to be even more of a boost. But yeah, I mean, to
He
AJ's
did come
point.
back.
Oh,
Yeah, he
he's
did
back
come
now? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got you.
he played Friday against the Rays and then had 2 off days.
Okay, got you. Yeah, but to AJ's point, there's definitely got to be more moves made. I mean, when you sell Devers, and you got a guy like Duran, and you're going to have you've got your core's finally starting, your young core, I should say, is finally starting to like figure it out. These guys are like, playing their game now. They've kind of settled into their role. Is it when you get a guy like Bregman back and you get, there's a spot in the lineup where you're obviously running Bregman out there. Are you going to start doing the thing where you're rotating these guys and there's more of a platoon? How are these young guys going to handle a platoon? Platoons are tough, dude. I mean, when you're not getting at bats every single game and you're just seeing righties or you're just seeing lefties, it's hard to, stay, stay hot and stay on time. So that's a lot to ask for a young team, but ultimately, this is a good problem to have. You got too many guys. You don't know what you're going to do with your guys, and that just screams deadline.
Got to improve, yeah. Again, I think I did just look it up here. So 5 of the next 7 series for the Boston Red Sox all come against division leaders. So
that's tough.
Definitely not going to be a fun. Well, I take that back. It could be a really fun start to the second half here. Or it could be the end of the season, come August 13th, which would be the last game against the Astros. So you got the Cubs series, the Phillies series, you've got the Dodgers series, then you play at the Twins, which that could always be a weird series. But then you come back, you play against the Astros. Royals should win almost all of those games, to be honest. But the Royals are kind of sneaky. You got Padres, and then you got Astros again. So it's not an easy stretch there. Not an easy stretch.
Yeah,
and they still have the Yankees in August or September, 2 or 3 series with them. But yeah, I'm not too concerned. I think offense has not been the issue for the Red Sox this year. It's been pitching. So
very true.
Between Crochet, Bayo, and Giolito, primarily Bayo and Giolito really stepping up and coming into form, that gives you 3 guys every week that should have you in competitive games no matter who you play. And everyone else that has been starting besides Walker Buehler has been doing good as well. So, and their bullpen's been amazing. When their bullpen's fresh, they're one of the best in the league. And I do think that the Red Sox will improve their roster before the end of the trade deadline, whatever it looks like, a buying, selling situation, because they do have a surplus in areas and they need pieces in other areas. So I think they're in a good position.
Yeah,
I do think Giolito is going to be putting on a show for the Cubs, hopefully trying to get a trade done.
Giolito's super interesting because he's not going to hit his innings, and so that means he comes back for like $12 million. So he's like a steal for next year.
I've seen some linkage to him in the Cubs if there was a trade that was going to go down because of the familiarity with Chicago there. I know the Red Sox and Cubs have a pretty long history of being pretty friendly with each other as well when it comes to front offices. So could be an interesting series. I definitely think there's I think we're going to learn a lot about both of those teams right out the gate here, starting this week. I will say the Cubs, obviously they took 2 of 3 from the Yankees. They're no They're no stranger from beating up on the AL East. You know, it's a little easier in that division, so they tend to play a little better against those guys. I do think Cubs being at home probably gives them the edge here, though. Wouldn't you agree, Joe?
You know.
No concessions.
All these
no
guys.
No comment. All right, let's stick on the AL East here real quick, though. So the Rays actually are in the process of being sold. I think it's probably the best case scenario for them. However, it seems the more that we dig into this new owner, his name is Patrick Zalupski, something like that. He's about to be like the poorest owner in Major League Baseball.
This man's broke, dude. We have a broke owner in the MLB. What's going on?
Now his definition of broke is probably a little bit different than ours. I believe he's worth about $1 billion. However, he is buying the team for $1.7 billion with it sounds like a group of individuals, one being the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp owner, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, KC.
Yep.
But this guy, he comes in. I know the Rays have been talked about being sold for quite a while. It looked like it was going to be Bezos for a little bit. It wasn't. That would have been super cool.
Yeah.
To see the Rays go from literal poverty to the richest man in the world.
Tampa Bay Amazons.
However, you know, there's a lot of changes coming with this franchise, obviously from a relocation standpoint to, you know, new stadium plans to all this stuff. So, I mean, this was a long time coming, but I'm a little shocked at the sale to this guy, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a little strange. It's a group, so I've got to do a little bit more digging on these other guys and what they bring to the table financially. But when you look at these other organizations, their owners just have way more money. Their net worth is just significantly higher. So it's like, you know, did the Rays just go from one guy that refuses to spend money to another guy that's going to be, you know, a little shysty on giving out big contracts and things like that? I mean, you know, if I was a Rays fan, I would be a little concerned, you know, but yeah, it's just weird when you look at this guy's net worth compared to everybody else, and it's just he's broke. I don't know how else to say it, but this man is poor. We have a poor man owning an MLB team.
It will be fun though if he ends up being like the biggest spender in all of the MLB. Like, where's this guy getting his money? He's just funneling money in.
Yeah.
Obviously the Tropicana lease ends in 2027. So, Joe, are they going to move? It sounds like they've cited a few different spots potentially for the Rays, but obviously his first task is figuring out where the hell his team's going to play.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's going to be moving to Tampa somewhere, which I think will help with attendance and everything else. St. Pete's kind of a grind to get to if you live in the greater Tampa Bay area. So I think that would be a really good move for the Rays. It is a big baseball community. It's just it's really hard to get to St. Pete if you live in Tampa.
Yeah. I think the other one that we mentioned at one point was Orlando, and Jacksonville was another option that we had talked about on a previous episode. Now with the Jumbo Shrimp owner involved, who knows, man? I mean, anything's on the table at this point.
Don't slate. Yeah, dude, they could go to Jacksonville right now and just occupy that stadium and have a better setup than they currently have. So
it does sound like if they make the playoffs this year, that they will be playing all of their games at Steinbrenner Field.
10,000 capacity.
So check this out. Imagine a scenario with me. The A's sneak in to the playoffs, and the AL championship game is played between the A's and Rays at minor league stadiums. Would just be absolute
hilarious
gold.
Yeah,
that would be absolute gold.
It'd be like deciding the All-Star game with a home run derby.
I know it won't happen, but let a man dream. It would be fun. Let's talk a couple of hot takes for the back half of this season. So we're kind of in a clean slate. I kind of like to think of the second half as a completely different season. Obviously, there's a lot of storylines still going around, right? That are flowing. and will probably pick up a lot of steam toward the end of this season. But it is fun to think about what will happen in this second half and how it could change the landscape of the baseball season. Joe, you want to give us a couple hot takes you've got for the second half?
They're pretty simple. I have the Red Sox coming all the way back and winning the AL East division, and I have the New York Yankees missing the playoffs.
Now we'd be remiss if we didn't note that was actually one of your hot takes from the beginning of the year as well.
It's the same take. Same take. And now it's just back in fruition.
Hey, that's actually just it's a good sign because both of them are on the table. So, Joe may have had a crystal ball to start the year if they come true. That'll be my hot takes at the start of the year look nothing like my hot takes right now. So, good for Joe, dude. Good for the dinosaur. Maybe he's onto something.
Yeah, I agree. Both things are in play. I'd be more shocked, I think, at the Yankees missing the playoffs than I would actually the Boston Red Sox winning the AL East. So that should give you a little bit of fire there for your team. Right now, Boston is only 3 games out of first place. So I don't know how hot that take is outside of the fact that obviously you've got a couple other teams in that division playing pretty well as well.
I think it's just from the start and then all the drama, and now they're in a position to do it. So just do it.
Do you think, I got to ask this question, do you think if Rafael Devers was on the team that they'd be in first place right now?
I think they'd be better. They'd be better.
We can read between the lines there. All right, Casey, let's hear your hot takes, dude. We got to switch it up from the AL East here.
Yeah, so let's get into the NL West here. How about the Giants make a big deal at the deadline? And speaking of Rafael Devers, they got their guy. They've got a good staff. They've got some solid vets on that staff that are getting it done. They've got some young guys that are starting to settle in. And how about the Giants come back and take the West from the Dodgers? It's not out of the world. I think all it's going to take for them to have the chance to do that is a deal at the deadline. Maybe go make a deal for a first baseman. Maybe a little Rhys Hoskins action. He's a rental. There's a couple others. Naylor, he's on the table. They need a little help there at that position, especially since Devers refuses to play anything other than DH.
No, he's supposed to come back after the All-Star break and play first.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I've heard that story before. We'll see what happens with that.
Didn't he tell Will Clark to kick rocks?
He just didn't show, which I respect even more.
I hate it. Yeah, that guy's kind of falling off to me, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, still one of the best hitters in baseball. Any team in baseball gets significantly better when he's hitting in the 3-hole. So, I think the Giants can maybe make a run at it and steal a division there from the Dodgers. And then my second hot take is, what about the big dumper? What about a little catcher fatigue setting in? And, this scorching hot start to the year comes back down to earth a little bit, and he has a not-so-good second half and kind of falls out of this MVP conversation, and Judge just kind of runs away with it. That's the thing. I mean, I know we have beat this horse to death here when it comes to Judge and the dumper on the MVP odds, but Judge just has better stats at the end of the day. Maybe not home run wise, but in essentially everything else. And I know, Cal's handling that staff, which is significant. But if the bat doesn't keep up, if it lags behind any more than it's currently lagging behind, then I think, you just have to give it to Judge. So keep an eye out for catcher fatigue, which is a thing.
I am 100% with you on that second point there. I think it was a bad idea for Cal Raleigh to be in the home run derby. But strictly because he's already taxing himself to the absolute max. He hits from both sides of the plate. He catches 80% of his team's games. And he's out there and being relied on as the offensive catalyst for a contending team. I think going out and doing the home run derby and exerting that type of energy was just unnecessary for him this year. Obviously, great for him. He won it, and it was a cool moment for him. But I do think that
he won it.
He won it, yeah. I mean, Brent Rooker got a little rip there, but I mean, look, the way he ended up at the end of there, I mean, I can't take that part away from him.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think that there's something to be said about getting fatigued, especially at that position down the stretch here. And I don't know that I would say he'll have a bad half.
Yeah.
But you might be onto something with the hot take there because we'll see. I don't know. Something tells me it's going to slow down.
Yeah, well, I mean, in correlation to the MVP odds, which is kind of what everybody's talking about right now when it comes to him and Judge, we're giving him the benefit of the doubt on the fact that Aaron Judge is basically better than him offensively in every statistical category other than one. And so you just think about if it's not going to take a lot. If he slips offensively at all, then that gap's going to get even more significant than it already is. And do you have Judge fatigue and just vote for a new guy because you're tired of Aaron Judge just being out of his mind every single year? Or do you just give it to the rightful, owner of the MVP?
Yeah, I don't even know that if I'm being honest, I don't even know that he's in the conversation with Judge.
Yeah.
I think he's having a phenomenal year. I think he's having, a significant impact to his team, but Aaron Judge is having an unworldly season. And when you look at the stats and you're like, well, he's got 38 home runs. Well, Judge has 35 and he's hitting like 380. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's
just
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I mean, there's not much that you can say negative about Judge other than the fact that if you want to count against him, his clutch genes and everything else, but that's not what the award is voted on. Yep. So for me, it's like, unless Judge slows down, I don't care how hot Cal Raleigh is. I don't see him taking over Judge in that race.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say my hot two takes are: one, Dylan Cruz comes back and just goes nuts and crosses 20 home runs for the year. I think he hit 2 right before he got injured. And if you look, we'll go back to the StatCast stuff here.
What's his bat speed?
Yeah, let's can somebody pull his bat speed for me, please? The kid he's the real deal. I think he's kind of in the same track as Caglianone, where it's taken him a little bit to get used to it. I think he's going to come back and have a really strong second half. And we're going to go, dang, the Nationals might be real scary here in the next couple of years with him, Wood, and Abrams and all the boys over there.
Yeah, bat speed's really good. Barrel percentage is really good. I mean, you got to think that eventually, if you can cut down on the whiffs, cut down on the Ks, I mean, he's really bad there. The approach just has to be better. It's not, the bat speed's significant, but it's not everything. It's not everything. If you're not, if you're not swinging at good pitches and you don't have any command for the strike zone or feel up there, it's going to be tough. So if he can come back with a revamped approach, take a little break here, come back with a revamped approach and swing at better pitches, then, he barrels the baseball when he swings and he swings the bat hard. So good things can happen.
If we were to overlay him and Jack Caglianone's StatCast page, it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
It's pretty similar. Now, those are two completely different guys, but they definitely have similar metrics. My second one here is that Houston fumbles and the Mariners win the AL West. I think there's a lot of Mariners love right now on this podcast, and for good reason. It looked like they were dead and out. It looked like they were shot, and there was no coming back. And then all of a sudden, you look at the standings, and now they're only 5 games out. Houston just got swept by the Rangers, or took 2 out of 3 from the Rangers, or the Rangers took 2 out of 3 from the Astros right before the break. And now you're like, man, maybe Astros actually have to go play Boston twice, right? In the beginning of August. So I don't know. It might get interesting down the stretch here. I think we got a big series this weekend between the Astros and the Mariners. I think we're going to learn a lot, and I have a feeling that the Mariners are not out of this race yet, and they're only going to get better. I think Joe was right on the money earlier when he said that the Mariners are probably going to make a move and get some offense, and they won't rely so heavily on just Cal Raleigh. Also, Julio Rodriguez, he's a known second half dude. I mean, you look at his stats. It's like almost every single year the guy's like an MVP caliber guy. Yeah, in the second half.
And Randy Arozarena actually got hot and kind of went nuts right there at the end, and he was brought in to do that. So they may get an offensive boost internally without a deal. If Julio can step it up and Randy can keep doing what he did, right before the All-Star break, then you're going to get some significant internal help. And then if you couple that with a little deal, the staff's rock solid. The bullpen's rock solid. Munoz may be the best closer in baseball. They got their eighth inning guy back. He's a really, really good holds guy. So, yeah, I mean, arrows point up. They need to make a deal and lock it down.
Talk about bat speed. Julio Rodriguez, 94th percentile.
Yeah.
So just expect greatness from the Mariners in the second half here. Now that's not to shit on Houston though, if I'm being honest. I think Houston's still going to have a strong second half. I just think they're going to fumble it at the end. And I think Mariners are going to take it.
Yeah, it would be uncanny if Houston to fumble it. They're usually the ones who are recovering the fumble, so that would be some new history going down this year.
Would love to see it.
Especially with Yordan coming back.
Would love to see it. I know some people that listen to this podcast that will not be happy about that comment. Time for buttered, plain, or burnt, guys. And this one's going to be fun. We're going to do something a little different here. So, buttered starter, plain, benched, or burnt DFA. This week, we're going with catchers. And we got Jorge Posada. We got Varitek, or we got Russell Martin. Joe, we'll start with you.
Well, honestly, I don't really care what the stats say on this one. There's the Tim Tebow effect, the intangibles that come with the cap. And it's not going to show up in the stat book. When someone needs to beat the piss out of A-Rod because A-Rod's acting the fool, Jason Varitek comes to help. When you need someone behind the dish to manage the staff and he calls 7 no-hitters, which I believe would have to be verified, he has the most no-hitters ever thrown to him as a catcher. Those won't show up on stats. And he's a switch hitter and vibes hard. So my buttered would be Jason Varitek. My benched will be Jorge Posada. And my DFA'd would be Russell Martin.
All right. I like the context there.
Carlos Ruiz and Jason Varitek are tied for most no-hitters called. So, yeah, good point.
Is it 7?
Yeah. It is not 7. It is 4.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. We'll give you 7.
We'll just round up. We'll round up to 7.
Yeah.
All right. Casey, who we got here?
I am going Posada. I'm going to go Posada buttered, Varitek plain, and I am burning Russell Martin. Dude, Posada, speaking of a guy that is just always there, always in the World Series, caught legendary games, and getting it done on the field. I'm going Posada. And then, Varitek for basically the same reason, just giving the edge to Posada there. And, Russell Martin may not even belong on this list. I'm definitely down to learn something new today about Russell Martin. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right. Yeah, let's talk a little buttered, plain, or burnt here. So you're right on with the Posada tick. So if we're looking at highest WAR year, right, from a catcher, Posada takes the boat. In 2003, he had a 5.9 WAR from the catching position. Completed with 30 homers, 101 RBIs. He hit 281 that year with a 922 OPS. Obviously was an all-star and silver slugger, and then also was third in MVP voting. So really nasty year in his age 32 year, by the way, for Jorge Posada. Switch hitter, obviously, plays big into the discussion here as well. Jason Varitek, right? Also, these guys are all pretty close here. However, Jason Varitek has the lowest WAR year out of the 3. His highest year was 2004, a year later after Posada. He had a 4 WAR. He hit 18 homers, 73 RBIs. He did steal 10 bags, so the dude showed off the legs a little bit, which was pretty cool. But he hit 296 with an 872 OPS. He was 30th in MVP voting. And
he also broke the curse that year.
Yeah. Funny enough, not an All-Star that year. His highest WAR year, not an All-Star. He was an All-Star. That was his one non-All-Star year sandwiched in between 2 All-Star years. So no love there for him. But I think I can understand where the Varitek love is coming from on that one. However, we gotta talk about Russell Martin. And Russell Martin is just being slept on, guys. Russell Martin in 2014 had a 5.7 WAR. And during that season, he only hit 11 homers. However, he had a 290 batting average with an 832 OPS. He came 13th in MVP voting. So pretty good, strong year for him there. He's also a 4-time All-Star, which I don't know if anybody knew that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Russell Martin, I believe Russell Martin is well known for his time in Pittsburgh, which only lasted 2 years, by the way. So went from the Dodgers to the Yankees to Pittsburgh, went to Toronto and then ended in the Dodgers. So if we're going strictly off of WAR seasons,
his WAR is really low when he was in the AL, and then his WAR was really high when he was in the NL. I wonder if that has any correlation at all.
This guy, dude.
I would love to take on that. I mean, that just has to be coincidence, right?
I'm assuming. Now, this is an assumption, but I'm assuming one of the reasons why is because in the AL during this time frame, he would have had to have been DHing a lot more. And in the NL, there was no option for him to DH, so he was only catching.
We were playing real baseball in the NL, Joe.
He was a Gold Glover
you would know
too.
nothing about.
He was a Gold Glover in his second year in the majors, by the way. All-Star, Gold Glover, Silver Slugger, and he had a 5.6 WAR that year.
Yeah.
So he had two years over a 5.5 WAR, whereas Varitek had no such. He didn't even get over a 5, which is interesting. But again, I think it does kind of go back to the discussion of the DHing situation. I think there was probably a little bit more DHing going on for Varitek on days that he wasn't catching, and that just wasn't an option for Russell Martin.
Not with David Ortiz in the lineup.
Good point. Strong point. That one's a little trickier. Obviously, with catchers, WAR is a kind of a interesting metric to gauge off of because they do bring a lot more to the team than just the WAR. However, I do think when you talk about guys that are underrated, I think if anything came from this, talking about guys that are underrated, Russell Martin was an underrated catcher in the MLB.
He had 3 seasons with a higher WAR than Jason Varitek's highest WAR season, so that's interesting. But who are we giving the edge to on the intangibles? Because obviously we're talking about the intangible position. So is it Posada or is it Varitek?
We gotta go Posada here.
I might have to agree with you.
I'm gonna give Posada the edge over Varitek, but I will say I think it would probably be pretty slim. I think Varitek is arguably the better defensive catcher, but when you factor in the entire game, you can't sleep on Posada at the plate. And the dude was just a monster. I mean, he literally carried from the catcher position for quite a while.
And it's pretty cool about both of those guys. They played for the same team their entire career, which is rare. And you don't see it. We got 2 guys. I mean, these guys were the captains of their teams. I mean, they led the charge. I'd like to hear Joe's take on this. Joe, was Jorge Posada superior in the intangibles department?
It's not even close. Jorge Posada was a bopper, though. He also wasn't the cap because Jeter was the cap. So he didn't bear that responsibility. And quite frankly, as good as those Red Sox lineups were, they weren't even near the depth that the Yankees lineups had during those times. And he got short porch. So, I mean, I like Jorge Posada, but he's no J-Tech when it comes to intangibles. J-Tech is just different. 4 no-hitters called to 0.
Yeah, it's a big gap. And it's not like J-Tech was, receiving balls from bums either. The opportunity for no-nos was, Posada. The opportunities for no-nos for Posada was there. I mean, he was receiving the ball from some legends,
Yeah, but even Jason Varitek's no-nos, it was like Clay Buchholz, John Lester when he first got called up. I don't even know the other two. Like Pedro didn't throw a no-no.
Derek Lowe legend.
Derek Lowe.
And former Braves legend, too, by the way. And Hideo Nomo.
Yeah, so he's also multi-cultured no-hitters.
Yeah, I mean, those are like 4 Hall of Famers right there.
Imagine trying to call no-hitter to a Japanese guy and then the next day having to call no-hitter to John Lester.
Yeah. By the way, there was no pitch comm back in the day either, so it was not as easy as today where they literally translate it in your ear. It was a little bit different back in the day for sure.
All right, so we're giving it to J-Tech. That was a pretty compelling case there. I'm going to have to go J-Tech on the intangibles, but I still like my list.
Yeah, I have to kind of agree with Casey's list this week. I do think, though, if we were to be consistent with the way that we have traditionally done this with the WAR, Russell Martin slots into number 2 and Varitek gets burned. But because of the uniqueness of the position, I will allow Varitek to stay on the bench.
The CEO has spoke.
I love it. Let's take a quick look at the current standings. Right now, going into the second half of the season, the Blue Jays have a 2-game lead in the AL East. The Tigers have an 11.5-game lead in the AL Central, which is just bonkers at this time of year. The Astros have a 5-game lead in the AL West, and the Phillies have a half-game lead, which, by the way, they need to get it going because they had
their opportunity. Yeah, we've talked about that. They had an opportunity to make that significantly bigger, and they just didn't do it. They're just hovering.
They still have a small window here because I think the Mets are still pretty beat up on the pitching staff. But they need to really put the pedal to the metal. Cubs have a 1-game lead, which is crazy because the Cubs have played very well over the last half month or so. The problem is the Milwaukee Brewers have played even better, and now all of a sudden they're 1 game back. They're 56-40. And don't look now, but the Brew Crew might be for real this year with one of the most underwhelming rosters, I think, probably in all of baseball. And then we've got the Dodgers with a 5.5-game lead. However, shrinking there. 3-7 in their last 10. So not playing inspiring baseball by any means. So we'll see how this all shakes out. But that's your current standings going into the second half of the season. Last week's predictions. Joe, you want to tell us how the NL Central fared against the AL East this weekend?
Well, sure, with our first game. I called that as well. The Cubs defeated the Yankees, and they took 2 out of 3, which all of us got the W there. So that was good job by the panel.
Nice job, team.
Good job, boys.
Then it was a terrible job by the panel on the next one as Detroit got swept with Scooble throwing on top of that.
Bad job, team.
Shame.
So shame on the next. Then we had the 4-game series between the Rays and Red Sox, which I was the only one to claim the Red Sox would win that series. So I got a solo dub there.
And that 1-0 game completely that killed Casey and I there.
Yeah,
I think it was on Saturday.
That was Crochet's complete game.
Yeah, that was a backbreaker for the old split there.
It wasn't Cedon Rafael hitting the 2-run shot bottom of the 9th to win.
Did Speaking of that, did you guys hear the difference in the call from the
Yes.
from the Sox and then the Rays announcers? It was gold. If you've not heard that, you got to go out and listen to that.
Rays
that
lose
hilarious.
5-4.
It was awesome.
And then the last one, Dodgers at the Giants. AJ and I both took the Dodgers. KC losing with the Giants. That puts us at me at 3-1 last week. AJ at 2-2 and KC at 1-3. That leaves one person above 500 overall for the year, which is myself at 36-24. And AJ is now 24-36, 12 games under 500, and now KC is 7-9, 2 games under 500. Half a season to go.
Yeah. Time is against us, Casey, for sure on this one.
I don't know, dude.
We're gonna need some,
man. I'm close. I'm about to surge.
We're gonna need some real buckle up weeks here of sweeps to go our way. I'm excited for this week's matchups though. Once we get to it, because I think this is an opportunity for us to get back in the win column. Let's look at the fantasy league update. So I think real quick we can run through this. How are we feeling? Because right now my fantasy team is having a rough go of it, coming off of a real big win last week versus you, Casey. Now all of a sudden I find ourselves in quite a hole, 3-8-2 on the categories. However, I will say my team is right there. I'm right there. I'm tied in homers. I'm one behind in RBIs, one behind in stolen bases, a couple points off in average. I'm getting crushed in the OPS. But from a pitching perspective, I got 3 of the 5 categories or 3 of the 6 categories and tied on the quality starts. So hell, my team has 3 saves. I don't even have a closer. So I don't know. We gotta figure out what's going on. We're all over the place, but I'm gonna say lukewarm. I'm gonna give myself like a 4 out of 10 right now on the feeling of pulling this one out.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good right now, honestly. The bats are back. I'm hitting the ball again. The bats were completely afraid against AJ for some reason. I'm not sure why. But I'm feeling good about the bats. I don't know, man. I've got Acuna, I've got Juan Soto, I've got superstar power. Francisco Lindor's kind of been on a slump. But you got to assume he's going to turn it around. Jackson Holiday's starting to settle in this league. Look out. Maybe a big second half from Jackson Holiday. Aranda just keeps getting base knocks every time he comes to the plate. PCA. So I really like my bats. I really do. And then my rotation it's almost where I wanted to be. Yuri Perez was kind of like one of the picks I had in my draft that I was, the most happy about. He just threw 7 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 6 Ks, 16 whiffs, 36% chase percentage. Yuri Perez was, arguably the hottest young arm in baseball the last time he was healthy for a reason. He's still like 22 years old. He was doing that as a 20-year-old. So I'm really excited about him. I think that if we look back at our draft, Yuri Perez might jump out at people in this dynasty draft. So I'm excited. Bullpen straight. We got some closers in there, Josh Hader. So, yeah, I'm excited. I just think I need, you play, it's a long season. Got to get back in the groove after getting thumped by AJ.
Yeah. I think Yuri Perez is going to make a case on the hot or not this week. Definitely a good outing for him. I wish he was available for the Cubs to buy, because that would be the guy that I would definitely be saying to go after on that staff. Joe, what's the week looking like for you right now?
Week is looking great. I am 9-3-1. Big chance to possibly go 13-0. Got a lot of categories that I feel good about. Staff's coming back. Shea McClanahan's probably another couple weeks out. Kyle Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez are a couple weeks out. Roki Sasaki is supposed to be back in August or end of August. And got Bregman back. Got Dylan Cruz coming back. Roman Anthony almost has an 800 OPS. Gunnar Henderson is over 800 OPS right now.
That's huge.
Including with 10 bags.
That's big. Yeah, that's definitely big.
And then between Ryan O'Hearn and Luis Robert Jr. probably going to see and be a part of a contender that will only boost my roster even more. And even Corey Seager. Corey Seager's turned it on. He has an 845 OPS right now and is starting to hit again. So the team is coming into form. Got some young guys also in the mix. And even like Soderstrom, he's looking to be a 100 guy this year. He's got 50 runs and 56 RBIs so far. So yeah, looking good, feeling good. Really, I think I could have a big week and propel me into at least second place at the end of this round.
If anybody wants some good fantasy advice from somebody who owns a guy and is a fan of his team, go get Drake Baldwin. Go get him. Ozuna's likely to be dealt in the last 3 or 4 games. The Braves have used a 2-catcher platoon at the position and had both of those bats in the lineup for the first time all year. All year it's been, if Sean Murphy's catching, Drake Baldwin's on the bench. If Drake's catching, Sean Murphy's on the bench. Also, go get Sean Murphy, speaking of. But now with Ozuna likely to be on the move by the deadline, expiring contract, it seems like the Braves have figured out what they're going to do there with those two catchers. Both of them are just really, really good hitters. And so Drake Baldwin and Sean Murphy are going to play every single day as a catcher. So that's going to be big for fantasy owners. Rest of season, if you're in a redraft league, I would probably go Sean Murphy. Rest of lifetime rankings, if you're in a dynasty league, go get Drake, dude. Overpay. He's going to be a stud.
Yeah. If I had to tag one guy to go out and be a trade bait type of dude right now, that would be gettable, I think, for pretty cheap because he's having a bit of a slump here, is Maikel Garcia for the Kansas City Royals. Anybody that's interested in him, go take a look at his StatCast page. Joe will love this. His chase percentage is in the 84th percentile. His whiff percentage is in the 91st percentile. His K percentage is in the 90th percentile, but he's squaring the ball up in the 96th percentile. So it doesn't get much better than those metrics. He's not going to be a slugger. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and give you 35 homers. He is having a career year in the power department. He has 8 homers this season, and he has 18 stolen bases. So he gets around on the bases a little bit as well. But the big thing he's going to give you, he's got a 297 average this year, which doesn't look like it's going to slow down any based on the metrics that we just looked at. And he's got an 808 OPS, and he's getting on base at a 35, almost a 36% clip. That's what you want to see from a guy. If you guys count any of those metrics, specifically on base percentage or OPS, this is a guy to have on your team. And he's got third and second base eligibility, which is not easy to find.
Yeah, that's
not
huge.
easy to find.
Yeah.
Now, Dynasty, though, think about this. The kid's only 25 years old.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's huge. Yeah, go
go
him.
out and pick him up. Go out and pick him up.
What's his name?
Maikel Garcia, and he plays for the Wreckers.
Go get him, Joe.
Go get him, Joe. I'll wait to see it in my inbox.
Another name to mention if you're pursuing some guys, especially if you're in a dynasty format, Evan Carter. He go see what the ownership thinks about him in your league. He was dropped in our league. I think that was a terrible mistake. Shout out to our boy Trey. Evan Carter is a puppy still. He has been on a scorcher since he came back up. He's hitting 270. And that's with a dreadful start to the year, 776 OPS. And he's got 12 swipes in 42 games. So if you need some help on the base pass, he's a burner out there. Super speedy, gets good jumps. So go get Evan Carter. Feel him out, because some people may have a little sour taste in their mouth from where they drafted him and how he came out of the gate. Like I said, in our league, he was dropped. And he's just been on fire lately. So go feel it out.
And I think the Rangers offense is only going to get a little bit better, which is going to help his counting stats as well. So we'll see. We'll see. But I definitely think Evan Carter should not be dropped in any league.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
I
miss
agree.
there.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate it, Trey.
Let's talk a little injury. A little injury here. Not too many to mention. Obviously, we're on a bit of a short week here from a playing standpoint. We got two big ones though. We got one, Hunter Dobbins tears his ACL, out for the remainder of the year. That's a blow to the Red Sox. Sucks, man. It does seem like with the Red Sox, every time they get something going, well, you get like a Casas injury, or you get this injury, or somebody goes through a bad slump and you have to send them down to AAA like Campbell. But it's not a good thing when you're already kind of struggling on the pitching front, and now you got to deal with this situation. However, I do think this is an opportune time to get your newly acquired Kyle Harrison into the fold. What do you think, Joe?
I think Kyle Harrison's going to stay down in AAA, and they're going to roll with Dick Fitz and their usual staff that they have right now: Bueller, Bayo, Giolito, Crochet, Dick Fitz. I don't think Harrison's going to be called up possibly this entire year. He's in the lab right now, and he's not coming out until they think he's ready. And Bailey and Breslow think very highly of him. As of last year, he was actually ranked higher than Roman Anthony on the prospect rankings. So they think that he could be a 2, if not a number 1, if some corrections are made.
Maybe the projectionists will be right for once. The Lars Nootbaar also injured with a costochondrial sprain.
What does that mean?
Yeah, Joe, resident medical expert. We have any idea what that is?
Yeah, hold on, let me Google it. A costochondrial sprain occurs when the rib detaches. What's up with all these rib injuries?
Yeah, lots of rib injuries.
Casas, this guy, too much swinging the bat hard. Too much bat swinging hard.
I actually kind of agree with that for sure. Well, and then, Chris Sale's a little bit different. He was being a bozo and freaking dove at first base.
He's a dog, dude. Leave him alone.
Yeah, you want to see a sexy savant page, look up Rafael Devers. Look at his swing speed, and then look at his exit velo, hard hit rate.
We know what he's about. So that's our injury update. Really nice, short, sweet. I will say there is one other guy. Keep a watch on it. Eugenio Suarez got hit in the hand last night during the All-Star game. Not good. Didn't look good at first. He did stay in the game. He made a pretty incredible play after that. But part of me thinks he didn't want to play for the Yankees and he leaned into it a little bit so he doesn't get traded. But we'll see. I don't know. Hand injuries can be really weird because you've seen guys stay in the past. They go back, get x-rays and stuff, and then all of a sudden they've got a fracture or a broken something and keeps them out for a little bit of time. So hopefully not. But that did happen in last night's game. Never a good look in the All-Star game.
Yeah. Quick point on that. That just goes right back to the fact that the All-Star game is like a charity event. Shane Smith, the lone White Sox guy to make the All-Star game because everybody has to have representation, is the guy that can't control his fastball and hits a star in the hands. So get rid of charity cases. Yeah,
for sure. Or legend cases, apparently.
Yeah.
Although it was kind of cool with the Kershaw thing.
That was
so cool.
Giving him his moment. All right. Hot or not? So we've talked about a couple of these guys already. I'll run down the hot, and then Joe, you want to run down the not here? So the hot, we got Cedane Rafaela, a 390 average, 5 homers, 15 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a 1307 OPS. I believe he's actually not rostered in that many leagues. So go out and get him. He was kind of a platoon guy for a little bit, but it looks like he's going to be here to stay for a while. Kyle Stowers got his opportunity last night thanks to the NL. and gave him his shot at the 3-homer swing off, and he got one in the seats, which was pretty cool to watch. A 385 average with 6 homers, 11 RBIs, 1 stolen base, a 1291 OPS.
3 of those homers in one game.
Yeah. That was
playing against him. Kind of hurts.
Yeah, that's ever fun to deal with. Another guy we got here, Addison Barger. Toronto Blue Jays, a 293 average of 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and a 984 OPS over the last 15 days. Go out and get this dude. He's also not rostered very high, I think in the 30s. I've heard nothing but good stuff about him. So, young dude, go out and get him, pick him up, and maybe low-level trade if you can. Victor Caratini, a 325 average, 4 homers, 13 RBIs with 1,000 OPS. Pretty good for a backup catcher. And our last guy on here, we mentioned him earlier, Yuri Perez. Now, we mentioned his 1 start, but listen to these last 2 starts for him over the last 15 days. 18 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts, 2 quality starts, a .5 ERA, and a .39 whip. For people that don't know what that means, it means literally nobody is getting on base from hits or walks from him. And if you do get on base, you're not scoring.
Yeah.
He's dirty. He's really nasty right now. So he's been fun to watch.
The not list. We got Maikel Garcia. 2 average. 0 home runs, 2 RBIs, 0 swipes, a 540 OPS. Bryce Terang, 167 average, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 0 swipes, 484 OPS. Marcel Ozuna from the Braves, 161 average, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, 0 swipes, 684 OPS.
Not
Mason,
good when you're trying to trade him.
I wonder if the buyers have access to this information. I hope not.
Mason Wynn, 205 average, 0 homers, 2 RBIs, 1 stolen base, a 535 OPS. And Jose Barrios, 13.1 inning pitched, 8 Ks, 1 quality start, a 7.43 ERA, and a $1.50 whip.
So with a quality start, I'm assuming, which I'm not sure, I haven't checked. I guess Barrios just had like a horrendous start, probably took whoever owned him totally out of the whip and ERA category for the week, because if you get a quality start on the board in your 2 starts and you still have a 7.43 ERA, that 1 start must have been just atrocious.
Yeah, I actually own him.
So
and
he did it. He had a good start against the White Sox, right?
But still gave up 3 runs, I believe.
Yeah.
So you can give up 3 runs. I think that's like a 4 ERA.
I think what we had here was a 1. He only gave up 1 against the White Sox. He went 6 innings, 1 earned, 4 Ks. But then he came out against the Athletics the next day, or not the next day, but his next outing. 3 innings pitched, 4 earned. He gave up 2 homers in 3 innings. Took him 61 pitches to even get to that point. 1 strikeout. It was not good. So quite the blow up.
Happens to the best of them.
Yeah, he's also sandwiched in between that 1 quality start was sandwiched in between 2 bad starts. Obviously, the one we just mentioned, and he also pitched against the Yankees on July 2nd. 4.1 innings, 6 earned, 3 strikeouts.
So we're factoring in his last 3 to get our stats. Yeah. Not a good dropping.
All right, here we go. Trade him to the Wreckers. Here we go. Series to watch this weekend. Casey, give us our first series because you're our impartial party here.
Yeah, we've got the Red Sox at the Cubs, which I think is significant. We've got Giolito versus Ray in the first game. We got Bayo versus Imanaga. We're looking to see if Imanaga can get settled in. Looks like he has, right, AJ?
Yeah, he's been looking really good.
Yeah.
I think he went 7 1/3 his last outing against the Yankees, and is going to turn around and treat the Yankees rival the same way he did the other piece of the AL East.
Good to know. And then Crochet versus to be determined. I don't think it matters who the Cubs run out there in that one. So let's get some picks in here. We'll start with Joe.
Yeah, the Sox take 2 of 3. The Cubs are 27 and 28 against teams over 500. The Red Sox are a team over 500, and they are 27 and 23 against teams over 500, like the Sox.
Yeah, no chance. No chance it's going to happen. Giolito's he's gonna go out there and give his best though, because he's angling to play for the Cubs here soon. Cubs are going to take that game, and they're also going to take the game against Bayo. And I have the Cubs winning 2-1, but don't rule out the sweep. The Cubs do have one of the best offenses against left-handed pitching in the MLB. So don't sleep. Crochet's dirty. He's absolutely dirty and will probably throw a gem, but there's always that possibility when you go against a team that knows how to hit left-handed pitching.
Yeah, I'm kind of with AJ on that. I like the Cubs 2-1. I think they're playing on the Red Sox are going to Chicago, so Cubs are playing at home, and I really like their pitching. I think maybe look, Giolito's, he's one of those guys, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. And I like the Cubs to get to him. That offense is really good, and he's not Garrett Crochet. And then I like him Naga over Bayo. And then I've got the Red Sox winning the getaway game there.
Yeah, the one thing I'll mention about that series, and Joe may agree with this, if this series had been played without the All-Star game break in between, I'd feel a lot less good about it. I think the Red Sox have probably lost a little momentum because of that break. It's just they were rolling and they were looking really good, and those types of things can throw a little wrench in the plans there. So give me the Cubs coming off a 2-1 against the Yankees, a little familiar foe there.
We're going to move on to the Astros and the Mariners. We've got the Astros at the Mariners, and all of those pitching matchups are to be determined. So give it your best shot, boys. We're starting off with Joe.
Astros 2-1.
Just no context. Give me the Mariners. I gotta think that this is the Mariners' shot to get back at the Stros a little bit. I know the Stros have been treating them pretty poorly over the last few years. You're kind of in position to make a run at that division. This is your time to start, big dumper. Start your MVP case and prove me wrong. 2-1 Mariners.
Yeah, I'm going Mariners 2-1 too. And my main reason for that is because I think the bats are heating up there. I don't think it's going to be the big dumper show in the second half. Like AJ said earlier, this is when Julio Rodriguez usually turns it on. Randy Arozarena already has. So there's some other guys in that lineup that are starting to thump a little bit, and then you combine that with the dumper, and I think the Mariners are going to take it. Moving on, we've got the Brewers at the Dodgers. And again, all of those pitching matchups are to be determined.
I like the Dodgers 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I like the Dodgers 2 out of 3. I'm a little nervous about this one. The only thing that I'm giving the Dodgers the edge for here is being at home, but that starting staff has looked a little shaky. Freddie Peralta looks really good, and Misarowski looks really good. I don't know if he's going to get to pitch, but if he comes out on Sunday and Peralta's already got them, in position to take a 2-1, I could see it happening. Give me Dodgers. I don't feel great about it, but give me Dodgers 2-1.
Feel the same exact way. I'll take the Dodgers 2-1 just because they're the Dodgers, basically. But yeah, the Brewers, they're sneaky, and they're on the brink of taking over the lead in that division. So they want it right now.
Yep.
Moving on, we've got the Giants, the future winners of the NL West, at the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have announced who's throwing in that series, but the Giants have yet to announce. So they're all to be determined on that side. But we have Bassett going game 1 for the Jays, Lauer going game 2 for the Jays, and Berrios going game 3 for the Jays. Joe?
I like the Giants 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays.
Well, I feel like I have to question that. So what happened to the AL East? What happened to the AL versus the NL? Where's the love for your boys?
Yes.
I'm going Blue Jays 2-1, just out of spite Just out of spite here.
Yeah,
well, sometimes the blind squirrel finds a nut, and that's what the gut's telling me on this Giants Blue Jays series.
I have a theory that it has a lot to do with Devers. I have a theory.
Yeah,
I have a theory that the Red Sox take care of business, and the Blue Jays don't take care of business, and the Red Sox are one game out of first place.
Yeah.
All right, I see it.
Yeah, I've got the Giants 2-1. I don't really like, especially since Barrios has been so bad lately. I definitely like the Giants. Give me Devers. And this is my little dark horse here in the second half. The Giants taking that division, so it starts now.
I'll tell you why I believe the Blue Jays are going to win, and it goes back to the same thing with the Dodgers. Giants have to go all the way across the country and play in Toronto. And that is just that's not fun to do. And the Blue Jays were relatively hot going into this.
Did a segment on it, I believe.
This All-Star break. So 7-3 in their last 10, while the Giants were 6-4. I think it's going to be a good series, but the travel's just weird to me. And that's why I'm going Blue Jays there.
I'm going Giants because they all have higher bat speeds.
every single guy has ridiculous bat speed. Hey, don't sleep on old Vladdy or Springer. I know Joe's excited about Springer this year.
Old man Springer.
He's having a hell of a year. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for episode 17. Appreciate you guys listening. If you enjoyed it, shoot us a follow. Maybe share it with a buddy. We'll be back next week with more takes, more stories, whatever else baseball throws at us. And in the meantime, stay toasty. See you guys next week.